Alright. Chat. We are going to do a Nick video. That's what we're gonna do. We are gonna do a Nick video. We are gonna do Nick's video on Jake McNasty McNeese, the airborne anti-hero. So, the fact that he's talking about someone called Jake McNasty, I have a feeling this man is going to be batshit crazy and I'm gonna love it. No, we have not watched this one, Alex. I don't recall ever watching anything about Jake McNasty. So, this should be fun. Let's fucking go.
Down, gonna be the longest video I've ever made. I should probably pee first. Hold on.
Ah!
Today we're
See? You see? Rick did it too. I'm just, you see. That's why I did.
talking about America's airborne anti-hero, ladies and gentlemen, James Elbert McNeese, aka Jake McNasty, the leader of one of the most notorious military groups of all time, the Filthy 13.
Wow. Oh. Wait.
And just to
They did. Wait a minute. They did, like, war paint? They cut their hair into mohawks and did war paint? Oh, we are starting off hot. Oh, this is gonna be good. If they're doing this kind of shit for their drop-ins. No. Gore, we have not seen this one. We have not. I have not watched this one.
And just to clarify, in case you don't know, being an anti-hero is not a bad thing, despite how it may sound. You see, the textbook definition of an anti-hero is a hero that does not display typical heroic qualities, which honestly is pretty ambiguous, but it's one of those things where you know it when you see it. So for example, a regular hero would be somebody like Superman. He's invincible, he shoots lasers from his eyes, and he always does the right thing 100% of the time. He never roughs up the bad guy. He always takes him straight to jail because the justice system never messes up anything. He only has sex in the missionary position. He always changes the batteries in his smoke detectors on time. It's boring, unrelatable, and completely inhuman behavior.
Oh no.
Anyways, and then you have the anti-heroes, the fan favorites, the characters with human faults that they not only overcome, but turn into their advantage. Characters like Wolverine with his bad attitude, Deadpool with his morbid sense of humor. Hell, even Batman is an anti-hero because at the end of the day, it's more relatable to do karate in your garage, dress up like a bat, and then run around town beating up clowns and dudes on steroids than it is to be perfect. Yup! So I guess what it means to be an anti-hero is that you always do the right thing, but you don't always do it the right way. And if you were to ask me for a real-life example of an anti-hero, I can't give you a better one than Jake McNeese. All right, here's the deal. Jake was born in Oklahoma in 1919. He grew up during the Great Depression as one of 10 siblings. This guy had to learn how to hunt, fish, and trap just to help put food on his family's table so they could survive. He had his first full-time job when he was 10 years old and continued to work full-time all the way through high school. After graduating, he became a full-time firefighter. Shortly after that, the attack on Pearl Harbor happened. America entered World War II. Jake, however, was exempt from the draft because he was a firefighter, but that's not what Jake wanted. Jake wanted to volunteer, and he didn't just want to volunteer for anything. Jake wanted to be a paratrooper and a demolition man. Jake wanted to jump out of a perfectly good plane behind enemy lines with a couple of buddies, be completely surrounded, and have nothing more than a gun and some explosives and just go out there and deprive the enemy of nice things. Gotta
Not is it with how many of these has Nick done? This has got to be like number 4 that we've watched, where the main character of his story wants to be airborne. Everybody wanted to be airborne back in World War II, it seems like. Everybody. Is this number? Yeah, it's like 4th or 5th. Man, Dragon, maybe. Like everyone. Yeah, I guess maybe because airborne was so new, they were considered the elite. Man. But not just airborne. Demo airborne. So not only did he want to, not only did he want to jump on the planes, he wanted to play with the explosives. I love this man already.
Bridge, guess what? Now you don't. Nice power lines. It'd be a shame if somebody blew those up. That's what Jake wanted to do, and that's what he was gonna do. So at the age of 22, Jake set off for training. Upon arriving at training, Jake pretty much immediately establishes himself at being incredible at any task the Army can throw at him, but also a humongous pain in the ass to his entire chain of command. During his very first week in the Army, Jake got in a fist fight with the staff sergeant in charge of the chow hall because the staff sergeant wouldn't give him butter with his bread. At which point, the entire chain of command is like, on one hand, we have to get rid of this guy. He's a loose cannon. You absolutely cannot be attacking staff sergeants as a private. He's got to go. But on the other hand, this is exactly the type of behavior we're looking for somebody that we want to drop behind enemy lines and expect to fuck up everything. So they just kind of let it slide. Fast forward a couple of weeks, Jake is doing a demolition course and he ends up setting the course record. He is the fastest person to ever complete this course. At which point his leadership walks up and is like, "Hey, soldier, congratulations. You broke the record." Jake looks the guy in the eye and goes, "Yeah, if you think that's impressive, you should see what I can do when I have some butter once in a while." And that pretty much sets the tone for the rest of Jake's training. He absolutely crushes any task they give him, but also, Jake does not give a single fuck about the dog and pony show that is the US military. He's not going to call an officer sir or ma'am. He's going to call them by their nickname. He's not going to salute them unless they salute him first. He's not going to stand outside and salute the flag during retreat, and he absolutely is not going to show up to formation on time, and he's definitely not going to be sober all the time, because that's just how Jake is. And because of that,
I'm not sure how I feel about some of that. Yeah. Anti-hero behavior, for sure, but doesn't salute an officer until they salute him back? Like, dude, you haven't got the Medal of Honor yet. Doesn't stand outside and salute the flag during retreat. That one I understand, that one I know. Yeah, it's like he's a badass, but the lack of respect is, I don't know how to feel about this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay then.
This Jake would be the only new recruit to not get promoted to PFC, which is a way bigger deal.
Reveille is in the morning. Retreat is at night. So he did meet retreat at night when the flag is lowered for the day. That's retreat. Soldiers will, when retreat starts to play, soldiers will come to attention and salute, whereas the flag is lower. That's every day. Leo, I don't know. Does anybody know if they still play taps at night? I have not heard anything about them still playing taps at night, so I have no clue. Yeah, you do? Okay. Well, that answers your question, Leo. Yes, taps are still played at night.
Because of this, Jake would be the only new recruit to not get promoted to PFC, which is a way bigger deal than it sounds like, because at this point in time, in the 101st Airborne and the 82nd Airborne, every single new recruit after 31 days of training got promoted to private first class. The reasoning behind that was they wanted to give these guys a promotion so they could make more money and ideally send that money back home to their families because, well, they've got a very dangerous job coming up and nobody knows what's going to happen. So absolutely everybody is getting promoted to PFC after 31 days, except for Jake. But here's the thing, Jake didn't really care. Jake wasn't there for the money. He was there for one thing and one thing only.
We're going to be doing one thing and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
So Jake is now the lowest ranking person in his entire company, and leadership was hoping that Jake would take this as a sign that he should start cooperating and get it together. That doesn't really happen though, and leadership now has no idea what to do with Jake, because on one hand, he's way too valuable to lose, but on the other hand, they don't want him mingling with all the other soldiers, rubbing off on them in a bad way. So they take Jake, they stick him in his very own
Wait. They don't want the main character syndrome to rub off on their other troops? Is chain of command stupid? This is how you create an army of unstoppable badasses. You let the main character rub some of his main character juice on his fellow soldiers, and that just realized how dirty that sounds. Never mind. Ignore what I just said. Never mind. Moving on.
All by himself and make him his own acting platoon sergeant. And then as time passes, whenever they get another soldier,
what did
make
he
off
say?
on them in a bad way. So they take Jake, they stick him in his very own platoon all by himself and make him his own acting platoon sergeant. And then as time passes, whenever they get another soldier just like Jake, they would send him over to join Jake's platoon, and he would eventually get 4 members in his platoon, counting him for a total of 5, and they would become known as the Dirty Five. And from there, things would obviously get really out of hand.
Wait. Okay. Hang on. Chat, are you giving me the chance to get some of that main character juice? Here's what I'm wondering. They put him in his own platoon, made him his all platoon sergeant. Okay, fine. What the hell did he do? As his own platoon and platoon sergeant, what job did they have him do? That's kind of what I'm curious about. I mean, yeah, eventually they got, pains in the ass. They'd be just stuck in his platoon so they could get rid of him somehow. But what were they doing? I mean, were they doing, like, demo stuff? Or what? I wonder.
Fast forward, Jake and his men finish the first phase of their training, and they are given a pass to go out on the town one last time before they have to go to Fort Benning for airborne school. So Jake and his men, his men that all outrank him because he's still technically a private, but he's also somehow their platoon sergeant. They all go out, they go to the bar, they get drunk. They end up running into some MPs. One of his men starts lipping off to the MPs. The MP goes to beat him with a nightstick. Jake interferes and says, hey, he's really drunk, let it slide. In Jake's own words, and I quote, he's so drunk he couldn't hit the floor with his hat in 30 throws. Okay, so just let it slide. He's going to get his men back to the barracks.
That's a hell of a
It's gonna be
price.
fine. The military police, the MP, then tells Jake, mind his own business, as he turns around to hit Jake's guy with a nightstick, at which point Jake proceeds to beat the shit out of 2 MPs, taking their Colt 45 1911s, firing all the ammunition into a nearby street sign before handing them back their empty guns and saying, okay, now you can take me to jail. The next morning, Jake's commanding officer shows up to the Stockade to talk to Jake, and he's like, look, not surprised you're here, don't really care what happened. Here's the deal. The Japanese have the world record for the longest ruck march, and I want to break that record by having a group of guys march from here all the way to Fort Benning, 136 miles, and I think you and your men are some of the guys that are going to be able to pull it off. Are you in? At which point McNeese is like, 136 miles isn't a problem at all. I won't change my socks, and I won't even get a blister, which, if you've never been in the military and you've never ruck marched, saying that you're not going to change your socks or get a blister on a 136 mile fucking ruck march is an unprecedented amount of shit talking. It's like a NASCAR driver saying that he's going to win the Daytona 500 without having his tires changed a single time. It's like going out drinking, ending up at Taco Bell at 2 in the morning, eating a bunch of steak quesadillas, waking up the next day, taking a shit, and not wiping, okay? It's not possible. So then the commanding officer is like, great, cool.
Now, the 130 miles already, holy shit, that's long. Not changing your socks? Fuck. But I'm kind of curious how much and how heavy was the gear in their rucks at this time? Like, Nick showed like a modern day ruck march where you've got like 80 pounds of gear in your ruck. Any idea how much weight was in a standard ruck back during like World War II? I can't imagine it was that. Was it more? Wait, nickname, are you talking about modern day or back then? Like, I'm trying to think what was in their rucksacks back then. Yeah, okay, what I'm inquiring is the rucksacks, the fully loaded rucksacks from World War II. That's what I'm talking about, that Jake is going to be carrying. So you're thinking 60 to 70 pounds of gear back then. See, I'm seeing 50, 60, 65, 85, 60, 70, okay. Oh, okay, Nick, gotcha. Alright, so Okay. I mean, it's anywhere from like, 30, maybe 20 to 30 pounds less. So, ugh, hey, I mean, that's still a hell of a long ruck march. But I'm also thinking of it this way. The men of this age were of a different breed. Yeah, Zeb, and that's what I'm saying. The stuff was bigger and heavier, so were the men. The men back during this age lived hard lives, and those hard lives built them up. More so than people in the modern age, I think. And he raved, hunting, fishing, so on and so forth. He was a firefighter, and he's used to any firefighter will tell you those hoses are not light, and they train to carry those things like upstairs. So yeah, I could see him by saying like, yeah, at least in terms of the weight that he's carrying was probably like, weight's no big deal. What, going 130 miles? Yeah, I can do that.
Cool, I'll see you at the Ruck March. We're going to go ahead and leave you in the Stockade for the next 10 days. Until then, though, Jake's like, cool, no problem, I'll hang out. 10 days later shows up. Jake is in a prison uniform with a giant P on the front, and 3 MPs show up with 12-gauge shotguns loaded. And they escort Jake to the starting line of this fucking Ruck March like he's Hannibal Lecter. There, he changes into a normal uniform and takes off on a 136-mile Ruck March to Fort Benning so he can go to airborne school. And sure enough, true to his word, Jake is one of only 75 men to finish this Ruck March, and he did not change his socks, and he did not get a single blister, which I cannot stress to you enough is a superhuman feat. So Jake and his men go on to do airborne training, absolutely no problem. Nothing really of note happens here, except for the fact that Jake is still a private and has still not been promoted in any way. After completing airborne training, Jake and his men are going to go to Camp McCall, North Carolina, where they are to receive expert saboteur training. They'll be receiving extra training in demolitions. They'll be receiving training in how to drive tanks, how to drive bulldozers, how to drive excavators, how to drive trains, pretty much anything and everything they could teach these guys to be able to wreak havoc on enemy infrastructure is what they're learning in Camp McCall, North Carolina.
Well, this would be fun.
Men continue to do what they do. They wreck every task that they're given. It goes perfect. Jake and his men are now about to go to England, at which point they are given one last pass to go out on the town one last time before they ship off. So Jake and his men go out drinking. Somehow or another, they end up at this little tiny diner neighboring a train yard, at which point one of the trains pulls up.
Yeah.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
They're gonna steal this fucking train. 100%, they are going to steal this fucking train.
Stops, walks across all the other tracks, and the conductors go in and they start eating at this diner. Jake is super drunk and he's like, I don't want to walk back to the base. I'm stealing that train. And that's exactly what he does because the army just taught him how to drive trains. So Jake proceeds to steal a train and drive it all the way back to just outside of Camp McCall, where he abandons the train, goes in, and goes to bed. But everybody knows Jake did it. Nobody's turning him in, so Jake gets away with it again, and now Jake and his men are off to England. So Jake and his men arrive in England. At this point, Jake has 13 men in his platoon, including himself, and they all come to the same exact conclusion. English food fucking sucks, which is on par with every opinion of it I've ever heard, which seems weird to me because it's a country that took over most of the known world for the sake of trading spices, and apparently nobody came to the conclusion that, hey, maybe you should put some on the food, but whatever. Because the food sucks, Jake decides, hey, I'm a master at hunting.
Funny fact, when I posted that beard video on YouTube today, someone went into the comment section and got offended about how people always say that British food tastes like shit. Okay, Brits in my chat, please confirm or deny for me. If you are British, does the food taste like shit? Please confirm or deny. Is British food tasty or not tasty? Remember, if you live there, I want people from Britain. But the modern Brit probably does taste other foods other than British food. Very possible American, yeah. I think it probably was. Uh-huh. Northern food's generally not good, that includes England. And it's why they idealize French cuisine. Fair. As an outsider visiting, it's bland as hell. Pepper is sometimes spicy. Very good. Okay, Leo, have a good night.
And fishing and all this other stuff, I'm just gonna kill enough animals to feed my entire platoon by myself. And that's exactly what he does. The only difference is he has military grade equipment to do it. Jake is going out in the woods at night with a spotlight and an M1 Grand, and as soon as a set of eyes looks at him, it's getting blown to smithereens.
Oh
Jake
my
has
God.
his men going out fishing with explosives. Okay, they are eating everything. Couple of problems with that. One, there's strict water rationing going on. The soldiers are only allowed to have one shower a week, is how little water they have to spare. So all 13 of his men come together and they decide, hey, we're just not going to take showers and we're going to use all of our water rations to clean and cook all of this game that we're killing. And because now they started stinking, they would all become known as the Filthy 13. The other problem with that was apparently all of the game was technically the property of the king, and the only people that were allowed to hunt it were the lords and ladies of the land, which definitely was not Jake McNeese and the Filthy 13. So Sir Ernest Wells ends up figuring out what Jake's been doing. He gets super pissed, ends up suing the government for like $10,000 for all the animals that Jake and the Filthy 13 ate. The entire unit gets in a bunch of trouble, and Jake's kind of just like, meh. I mean, what are you gonna do? I was hungry, so I ate some food. What do you want from me? If I'm in trouble, go ahead and punish me. What are you gonna do? Stick me in an airplane, make me jump out into enemy-held territory where a bunch of Germans are gonna try to kill me? Joke's on you, I'm into that shit. And the entire military is just kind of like,
Chat. He was the Skeletor meme before the Skeletor meme. What? What the fuck? What the fuck? Echo! Silver ship Echo! Oh my god, Dickies! What? Shit, that's 5 tier 3 subs! Holy shit! And I dared! Oh my god, Echo, thank you so much! Jesus! Thank God! Hey! Oh god! Okay, hang on a second, oh god. So... Oh god. If you just got us gifted sub from Echo, please make sure you say thank you. Please make sure you say thank you. Those are tier 3 subs. Those are huge. Make sure you please say thank you for that. Oh my god. Oh. Oh god. Oh. Okay. Oh, and Broken, thank you for the tier 1. American, quite expensive. Yes, Shadow Sparta, I'm dizzy because I'm like gasping. Oh god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, what? Wait, what? What the fuck? What's it? It's a flunk. Who the hell just did that? Oh my god, who the hell just did that? Who just gifted 6 more tier 3s? What the fuck is going on? Who the fuck just did that? Oh my god, who the fuck just did that? Oh my god! Thank you so much, whoever that was! What did you do? Echo, what are you doing? Jesus, what the, guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god, guys, what are you doing? Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, this 16! This been 16 kid! Sorry, say it! But, it's 16! 2, 3, 4, 4.
Me.
That's 16 2 3s! Oh my god! Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my god, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh my god. 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 Oh my god, thank you so much. Oh my god, thank you so much. Oh god. Oh god. Oh my god. Guys, that is fucking 20 tier 3 subs. That is fucking 20 tier 3 subs. In 5 fucking minutes. I hate you. Oh my god! That can oh god, guys! Oh god! Oh my god, guys! She said what? Thank you so much! Thank you guys so much! Thank you! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Thank you guys so much! Thank you so much! Thank you! Thank you. Tell you. Oh my god. Great. Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my god, this dude's so fun! Yeah! Oh! Hey, no, God, thank you! Oh, thank you! Special cosmic, thank you, oh God, thank you! Oh my God! Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh god. Oh my god. Oh Jesus. Thank you guys so much.
Breathe
Thank
slowly,
you.
Embe. We don't want you to pass out, sweetheart, please, we love you, okay? Just breathe slowly, we are here for you.
Oh god. Oh god. Hey. Oh god. I hope I don't miss anything. Making this. Thank you so much, Eagles. Thank you. Cosmic. Thank you. Shadows. Thank you. Oh god, and Moss. Terrifying. Rook. Thank you. Rex. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god! Guys, thank you! Ah! Fireball, thank you so much also! Oh god! Oh, oh god! Push it up! Oh my god! Oh god! Oh god! Oh no! Oh, oh god, I'm dizzy! Oh, I'm dizzy! Oh god! Oh god, I'm dizzy! Oh, oh god! Oh, I'm spinny! Oh no! Oh god! Okay, where's my drink? Oh god! Ah. Oh! Oh god! Oh my god! Oh god! Huh! 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 No, Xanax, she's not. She's hiding. Oh, oh god. Oh, oh god, I'm dizzy. Oh my god, guys. Thank you guys so very much. Jesus, that's cool. Oh my god, it's 5 more tier 3s. Oh my god, what are you doing? Oh, oh, oh. My god, what are you doing? Oh my god. God, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh god, thank you. Oh, shit. Oh god. Oh, oh god, I'm holding onto my chair for didn't like right now because I don't want to fall down. Oh god. Thank you guys so much. So much. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, guys, seriously, this is too much. This is way too much. This is way too much. Oh my god. Oh Jesus. This is way too much, guys. Seriously. Oh Jesus. Oh. Oh God. Oh. 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 Oh God. Oh God. Oh. This is. I don't think I have never had this many tier 3s hit me at all at once like this ever. Oh my god, this is more tier 3s at one time than I've ever had. Holy shit. Oh god. Oh, fuck. Oh, 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 hey, brothers. Oh, god. Oh my god. Guys, thank you guys so goddamn much. Thank you guys so goddamn much. So, oh god. Oh my god. Jesus. Oh my god. Thank you guys so fucking much. Oh god, I can't say it enough. Thank you guys so very, very much. It's a the day I say, Jameson. Oh my god. Jameson. Death. Oh, thank you so much, Jameson. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh god. I might pass out, won't me, but I'm okay. Oh, oh, Aaron. Oh, me! You're moving! Oh, Jesus! Guys! Oh, God! Oh, God! Guys!
We
Oh
are
my
experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay
God.
tuned.
Are we all clear? Okay, we're all clear. Great. All right, hit the red button. No, not that
ANND broken GG chat 10 out of 10.
Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, my God! Oh, God! Thanks, you guys! Oh, God! Thank you! Oh! Oh, God! Oh! Oh, my God! Oh, my God, guys! Thank you so much! Thank you so much! Truly! Thank you guys so much! Oh, my God! Craven, no! No, Craven! It is your birthday! No, don't take you out, no! It's your birthday, save it for yourself! Please save it for yourself, it's your birthday! Don't spread it out! Craven, it's your birthday. Please save your money for yourself, please. Oh God! Oh my God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh, oh, oh God, guys, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. God. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you guys. Rex, me too. Me too. Oh God. Oh my God. This 35-minute video is gonna turn into an hour and a half because I spent 30 minutes crying. Oh my God. This is gonna be one hell of a YouTube video, guys. Oh God. No, Revan, it's staying in. It's all staying in. YouTube, I'm sorry. This may be boring for you right now, but this is staying in. My videos are they're raw and uncut. Oh, God. Oh, God, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. I can't tell you how much. Thank you. So much. Thanks for opinion. Oh, God. Why did you do it when I'm feeling so drained? I couldn't enjoy Kirby making out with me. You keep doing that. So every time I get the chance to make out with Kirby, I'm always distracted or something. You're welcome. Go fry cat. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, God. Okay, hang on. Let me take a drink. Okay, Echo, thank you again so very, 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 very much. Thank you 1,000 times. Okay, we've got to get back to this video. I've got to get back to this video. Okay, deep breath. Okay, back to the video. Hopefully I can actually comment on it now.
We literally have no way to punish him. So he gets away with it yet again. Fast forward June 5th, 1944. The day before D-Day, Jake and the Filthy 13 are given a separate and extremely dangerous mission of going out, capturing and occupying an enemy-held bridge that's supposed to be able to help Allied tanks penetrate further inland. After a day, they'll be reinforced from troops landing on Utah Beach. And if Jake can't capture and occupy the bridge, he is to blow it up so that the enemy can't use it for reinforcements. This
They're giving Jake, the demo guy, the guy who loves to blow shit up, the option. Capture the bridge, turn the bridge into asphalt, ground concrete, rubble. They're giving him the choice. Chat, which direction do we think he's going to go?
mission is deemed extremely dangerous and borderline impossible, but leadership figures if anybody can pull it off, it's going to be Jake and the Filthy 13, because let's face it, the entire command structure at this point in time is basically looking at Jake's platoon like a fragmentation grenade of fuckery and bad attitude that they finally get to yeet at the enemy. So after receiving their mission, Jake and his men go out to start boarding the C-47s to take off at midnight to jump into Normandy, at which point Jake decides that he's going to whip out his straight razor and shave himself a mohawk. He tells everybody that he's part Choctaw Native American and he wants to honor that heritage. However, in reality, while he was part Choctaw, he had heard that Germany had a lice epidemic and wanted to go there with as little hair as possible. Regardless, his men followed suit and all shaved mohawks. They then began donning black face paint, at which point Jake is like, this is cool, but we can make it cooler. So he goes over to the C-47 that had a fresh white stripe painted down the side of it to identify friend from foe, and the paint was still wet. So he runs his fingers through the paint and goes around painting all of his men's face with white face paint as well. Unbeknownst to Jake and the Filthy 13, there were camera crews there taking pictures and recording them, and they would actually end up going viral, and the entire nation would be captivated by the
Normandy cabin. This was Normandy. This was before they stormed it. This is before the Battle of Normandy. I forget what date he said this was, but yeah.
The unique and dangerous look of these men as they prepare to jump into enemy-held territory. So much so that it would actually inspire a movie to be made known as The Dirty Dozen, and Jake and his men would be none the wiser to any of it until...
Oh, shit! I had no idea. They inspired the dirt. Okay. Well, I'm looking at this glorious cast of characters. Lee Marvin, August Borgnine, Charles motherfucking Bronson, Jim Brown, Jim Cassavetes, Richard Jackal, George Kennedy, who played the role inspired by Jake? Who played the role? Who was cast in the role that was inspired by Jake himself?
I'm not done yet. Call right now, and I'll triple the offer.
Well, Redden, I did, because I've never seen the Dirty Dozen. So, I didn't know what the Dirty Dozen was about. I've never seen it before. I think I'm going to watch it now. But I had no idea what this movie, I had no idea about it. So I didn't make that correlation. It didn't hit for me. Kaibo, maybe. Who knows?
After World War II. June 6, 1944, Jake, the Filthy 13, and 18,000 other paratroopers take off in C-47s
Wow.
as they prepare to jump behind enemy lines before the amphibious invasion at D-Day. About 20 miles from the targeted drop zone, Jake's plane gets hit with enemy flak fire and is losing altitude, and they have to bail out early. Moments after McNeese jumps out of the plane, the entire plane explodes, killing some of the Filthy 13 and scattering the rest miles apart. So Jake lands, he's completely unharmed, and he has all of his equipment. The only problem is he doesn't have any other Americans anywhere near him. So he just kind of takes off. He gets in a couple of long-range firefights with the Germans, takes a couple of them out in close quarters combat, and he's just going around trying to find any other paratroopers to group up with. And it's going on for hours and hours, and he can't find anybody. And he's starting to think maybe the whole thing was a catastrophe. Maybe it got called off. Maybe I'm the only guy out here right now. What am I going to do? And he finally comes across one other American paratrooper, and it's a machine gunner that lost track of his machine gun during the jump. And this guy is running around Normandy with nothing but a belt of machine gun ammunition and no gun. And Jake is like, Jesus, okay, well, you're with me now, I guess. Here's my grenades. You take those. I'm going to keep my M1 Grand. Follow me. So now Jake and Grenade Guy set off to find more paratroopers. So they keep looking, they find some more. They find a squad of mortar guys. They find some guys over here, some guys over here. Slowly, Jake amasses an entire platoon of about 35 paratroopers, and they're all gonna help Jake in his mission to take out this bridge. So Jake and his new companions start making their way to go blow up this bridge, at which point they would eventually come up on an entire American unit being led by this colonel, and the colonel is like, hey, you're working for me now. I don't care about that bridge. I need you to go pull security over on this part over here. McNeese tried arguing with the colonel, but the colonel wasn't having it. He gave a direct order, and McNeese is like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll take my 35 guys, and we'll go guard this for you. So they take off, headed there.
And we all know how good McNeese is at following orders. How is this gonna go sideways, Chad? How is this gonna turn into a... Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm told to take out this bridge. We're taking this bridge.
They get to the point they're supposed to guard, and McNeese just keeps walking because it was the same direction as the bridge. All of his men are like, hey, we're supposed to stop here. McNeese is like, you do what you want. I have to go take care of this bridge. You can come with me. I'd appreciate it. If not, stay here and guard it. I really don't care. All of the men go with Jake and proceed to make their way to this bridge. So Jake...
Of course. Because of course. Because all of these men knew Jake was the main character. I mean, it's so obvious. You know?
Jake and his men show up to the bridge, they capture it, they build up some fortified fighting positions because they now have to hold it for a day until reinforcements from Utah Beach can arrive. So the Germans start showing up, they fight the Germans back every time. One day passes, no reinforcements. Day two, they keep fighting the Germans back, holding the bridge, no reinforcements show up. Day 3, the Germans are now on the other end of the bridge with Jake and his men over here, and it is just no man's land in between on the actual bridge. When suddenly, an entire squadron of P-51 Mustangs comes up and blows up the entire bridge, because apparently the American leadership determined there's no way Jake was going to be successful in his mission, so they blew up the bridge anyways.
They fucking explosion blocked it? Bastards! They fucking explosive blue ball Jake McNasty. What the fuck? Oh, why that? Yeah, like, he's gonna be like, motherfucker.
Thankfully, Jake and his men would make it out okay. None of them were harmed in the blast from the P-51. Now, at this point, Jake decides, hey, we're going to continue to hold our position here, because if anybody is going to try to cross this ravine, they're going to do it right here where the bridge used to be. And sure enough, an entire German infantry battalion shows up on the other side of where this bridge was. At this point, the German officers make their way through the ravine and up to Jake under a white flag where they're like, hey, go ahead and surrender. We've got 700 men.
Snodgrass Landing. My station is called Snodgrass Landing. And yes, Sam, I know that's delayed. I know it's delayed. Don't worry, I know.
And you've got 35. It's going to be a bloodbath. Just call it a day. Jake, being Jake, is like, no, but you're welcome to surrender to me. The German officer, thoroughly annoyed, is like, what are you?
Hang on, let me hear that again.
Make their way through the ravine and up to Jake under a white flag where they're like, hey, go ahead and surrender. We've got 700 men. You've got 35. It's going to be a bloodbath. Just call it a day. Jake, being Jake, is like, no, but you're welcome to surrender to me. The German officer, thoroughly annoyed, is like, what are you doing in that mohawked head of yours? I have 700 men. You need to surrender or I'm going to kill all of you. At which point,
Okay, I'm going to try and guess this. The German officer says, what are you doing? We have 700 men. How is Jake gonna respond? Hang on, I got to think of what I do. I have to think of what a true crazy badass would say. Yeah, okay. They'll say, yeah. And if you want, we can hang out and wait while you get another 700 more to make it a fair fight.
At which point, I'm paraphrasing here, but I would assume Jake said something along the lines of, yeah, you've got 700 men, but you're going that way, and the battlefield is that way, which tells me that all my buddies showed up on Utah Beach, and they've been kicking your ass so bad that now you're trying to run away from them. So, the way I figure it, you've got about 3 options. Option A, you surrender to me right here, right now, and you all live happily ever after. Option B, you go back to your men, you hold your position right where you're at, and all my buddies show up in a little bit with a bunch of Sherman tanks and proceed to un-German engineer all of you motherfuckers. And option C, you guys try to fight your way through this ravine with me guarding it, which to be honest, I would recommend the least. I have the high ground, I have fortified machine gun positions, and you've got to make your way through a ravine first, meaning that I basically also have a moat. So, I will effectively be going medieval on your ass if you choose option C. Now, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but if I was you, I would pick option A, because if you pick option B or option C, I can pretty much guarantee that the next piece of officer correspondence that you're going to get is going to be from a fucking Ouija board. At this point, the German officer storms off with his hair on fire. He's absolutely pissed. Jake then goes over to his men and he's like, hey, get ready for a fight. I'm pretty sure I just poked the bear. We'll see what happens. Sure enough, like an hour later, 700 German infantrymen proceed to take off and attempt to bum rush Jake and his men in their fortified fighting positions. Now, I don't
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
know what you know about military tactics, but generally speaking, it is a terrible idea to run face first into machine gun fire. It's also a terrible idea to try to fight the enemy when they have the high ground. If you don't believe me, ask Anakin.
I was wondering if he was going to pull this.
Face first into a fortified machine gun position, through a moat, while they have the high ground, and the men running the machine guns are under the command of some American with a mohawk, Native American face paint, who everybody calls Jake McNasty, is literally a lifetime supply worth of shitty ideas. Jake and his men would hold their fire until the majority of the Germans made their way into the water, at which point they would open fire with 4 heavy crew-served machine guns, 2 mortar tubes, and a bunch of small arms, effectively mowing down and decimating the entire German battalion. On that day, Jake and his ragtag group of paratroopers were credited with removing 700 enemy combatants from the field. Shortly after that, the reinforcements from Utah Beach show up. Jake goes over to a small town. They get put in a holding position for a little while. Then Jake's small group of ragtag paratroopers all get evac'd, where they get broken up and sent back to their original units, where they get regrouped and refitted to return to war. Jake McNeese would find himself getting evac'd all the way back to France, where he would be reunited with the 5 surviving members of the Filthy 13, as well as receiving a bunch of new recruits for his platoon. At this point, they had a couple weeks off where they could drink, relax, do whatever. Jake's going out, he's getting drunk, he's having a good time. Then he would receive word that his platoon is going to be partaking in a new airborne operation referred to as Operation Market Garden, the largest airborne operation in human history with 38,000 paratroopers jumping into Nazi-occupied Holland. Hearing that he was going to be jumping into Holland, Jake figured that he was going to be engaging in a lot of close quarters combat, so he opted to turn in his M1 Garand and get a Thompson, which is exactly what he did. He then received word that his platoon, being the bridge experts that they are, were going to have to go out, capture a bunch of bridges, defend them, and or get rid of them until they heard word otherwise.
Hey, look, I made a bridge. It only took me like, what, 10 seconds?
And pretty much everything goes according to plan there. They jump in, they get to the bridge, they take the bridge.
Oh, suffer my curse.
Okay.
Over, they hold it for a couple of weeks, then they receive word that they are to go help another unit take over this town known as Eindhoven. So Jake and his men make their way over to Eindhoven, and they begin helping to clear out this town, room by room, building by building, close quarters combat, them versus the Germans. In his book, Jake described this close quarter combat as very different from what you see today. It wasn't four troops stacked up outside a door, kicking it in, and all running in together. It was one guy, one room. An American would kick open the door, throw in a frag grenade. As soon as the frag grenade blew up, the American would then crawl in on his hands and knees with a Thompson submachine gun and shoot anybody that survived. The reason they crawled in on their hands and knees is because, according to Jake, the grenade would kick up so much dust and soot and debris in these old buildings that you couldn't see standing at normal level. So you had to drop down like you were in a fire trying to avoid carbon monoxide to be able to see what you were doing. And this is...
So Jake was trained for this kind of maneuver already. Free army. This must have seemed very, very familiar to him. Yeah. Okay, I wonder if Nick's gonna bring that up.
This is how they cleared the entire village. Making their way all the way through it, about halfway through, Jake would be clearing a building where somebody clearly used to make furniture. At which point, Jake would find a chicken. Now, this chicken had 6 eggs. Finding eggs in the middle of a war zone in World War II was a big deal. Nobody had eggs, and Jake fucking loves eggs, okay? This is amazing. Only problem, he's got to figure out how to get these 6 eggs all the way through this village without breaking them. So he thinks for himself to a second, maybe I could leave the eggs here and I'll come back for them later. And he's like, no, that's not going to work because one of these other paratroopers is going to find my eggs, and these are my eggs, I want them. So he takes all the eggs and sticks them in the cargo pocket of his pants. And then every time he clears a room, rather than crawling in on his arms and legs, he slides in on one side, the side without the eggs, to ensure that he doesn't damage any of his precious eggs, which is the most gangster shit I've ever heard in my entire life. This dude is going toe-to-toe in close quarters combat against enemies with submachine guns trying to kill him, and his primary concern is not fucking up breakfast. This is like a
Chat, have you heard of a more based soldier in your life? No, Slonger, this is not hard mode engaged. This is a man who knows that he has the most precious item in the game in his pocket. And that precious item will remain unharmed. Shot for every time he says, damn, I forgot my screech in the kitchen. Oh well. Yeah, I mean, and let's face it, chat, is breakfast not worth making a few little adjustments to your killing?
Stupid video game achievement for when you want to play it on extra hardcore
There we
mode.
go.
It's almost like this man knows that he has plot armor. It's absolutely incredible. So he continues to go on, clears out
Swanger,
the
he probably
entire
couldn't
village,
have.
doesn't break.
Putting a couple eggs in your pocket's one thing. Carrying a live chicken who's probably freaking the fuck out about this war going on all around it. Yeah, probably not a great idea. Plus he needed to have both hands for that Thompson.
Absolutely incredible. So he continues to go on, clears out the entire village, doesn't break a single egg. It's absolutely incredible. They get to the other side of the village. They're like, sweet, we cleared out all the Germans. And then across the field, out of the wood line, pulls an entire German mechanized unit with 10 tanks. At this point, Jake is like, I just want to eat my fucking eggs. This sucks. So Jake and the Filthy 13 go to work. Being the demolition men, it's their job to go around to the tanks and disable their tracks so they can no longer move. And then the infantry's going to come in with their flamethrowers and cook the enemy out. And that's exactly what happens.
Nice.
Everything goes according to plan. They take out all 10 tanks. Not really that big of a deal. Jake reaches into his pocket. Tragedy strikes. He's broken a single egg. It only took 10 German tanks to make this guy fumble enough to break a single egg. And
The broken egg, chat.
NANI?
Oh, they will pay. They will pay.
he got to enjoy 5 eggs for dinner that night. Jake and his men would then adopt a holding position where they would chill out for a little bit, hold their position until they got evac'd again for yet another huge mission where Jake and his men would find themselves back in France for a second time. So Jake and his men find themselves at an army base right outside of Reims, France. Obviously, Jake and his men want to go drink in town, have a good time, see if they can find some women, you know, what have you. The only problem is, apparently the 82nd Airborne was there last month, and the 82nd Airborne caused such an issue in town that the military had to bring in a special group of MPs to get the 82nd Airborne under control, and now all paratroopers have been effectively banned from town. I mean, to be fair, that's pretty on brand for the 82nd Airborne. Bunch of rowdy dudes. If you don't know, that's their logo. On paper, AA stands for All American, but everybody knows that it actually stands for Athletic Alcoholics. Now, Jake, wanting to drink anyways, comes up with a plan. He's got to hook up with a distillery all the way over in Paris, which is like a 2-day trip away. So, Jake gets a 72-hour pass, starts leaving to go to Paris. His commanding officer stops him and is like, Jake, what are you doing? I'm going to Paris to get some booze for the boys. Jake, Paris is 2 days away. Do you really think that you're going to be able to take 2 days to travel to Paris, go on a week-long bender, and then travel 2 days back all in 72 hours? At which point, Jake looks at the officer and says, and I quote, I don't know. I wouldn't be willing to bet on it, but I'm willing to try. At which point, the officer kind of just rolls his eyes and is like, is there anything I can do to stop you? Jake, not really. So the officer just lets him go because he realizes that Jake's going no matter what. It's just a matter of if he wants to get his ass beat over it or not. So Jake makes his way to Paris, goes on a couple-day bender, gets a bunch of booze for the boys, heads back to base. He finally gets back. He's been AWOL for 5 days. They immediately throw him in the Stockade for abandoning his post, at which point his command comes up to him and is like, Jake, we've been talking. We really want you to volunteer for Pathfinder school. At which point, Jake kind of has a little bit of a panic attack and he's like, they're trying to kill me. Like, they're actively trying to kill me. You see, if you don't know what a Pathfinder is, they're basically paratroopers, but they go out hours or a day before the big, huge paratrooper operation, and they jump beforehand, and then they figure out the best spots to drop all the other paratroopers and radio it back to base. So,
in modern day terms, like Pathfinders, I'm pretty sure Pathfinders are still active today. But this would probably be more akin to if you're gonna talk about like a modern day equivalent, it's airborne calves. It's like Pathfinders back then are basically like what the airborne Cav Scouts are today. The ones that go out ahead, behind enemy lines, find the bad guys, mark them, radio it back, find the best pass, the best pass throughs. Yeah, they were basically looking to make him an airborne Cav Scout, because Cavalry Scout didn't. I'm pretty sure the Cavalry Scout did not exist back in World War II, if I remember correctly. The cavalry did. That was the mechanized cavalry, which was the tanks. But I don't believe in the U.S. military the Cav Scout existed. The Pathfinders were essentially, to the best of my understanding, the Pathfinders were like the precursor to the Cav Scouts. And back then, it's not like it is in modern day where, we watched the video about Nick making a joke about, the Cav Scouts basically, nuke all the enemies before the armor can actually show up, and it's always a competition who can kill the most bad guys. It's like, these guys, What? You disagree? You disagree? Have they existed since before World War II? Cab Scouts pre-World War, pre this were different. Like, I'm talking about in the context of the Pathfinder. That's what I'm referring to in the context of the Pathfinder that Nick is talking about there. Like, based on the job description, that sounds like Cab Scouts as we know them today. So, and yeah, I know there are still actual Pathfinders. I believe that the job description of the actual Pathfinders has changed. I haven't actually looked into Pathfinders in a while. I did a while ago, but I believe that their job description has changed slightly from back in the day. I'm just trying to think of, yeah, it's a full-on school. Yeah, the Pathfinder school. It's kind of, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, Nick. Yeah, they change it from being a job to a school that recon elements could go to for training, basically to make them better recon units.
They know where to put everybody. This job during World War II was incredibly dangerous. On a given airborne operation, it required 2 Pathfinders
It was at
and
that
1 set
moment
of
that I realized I fucked up.
radio equipment to get the mission done. And on every mission, they would drop 10 Pathfinders and 2 sets of equipment because they knew that on average, 8 of them were going to die and 1 set of equipment was going to be damaged or lost. They had a 80% fatality rate on any one mission at any point during World War II. And that is why Jake thought for sure they're trying to get me killed. The only silver lining here is they can't make him do it, because Pathfinder is so dangerous that it was strictly a voluntary basis only. But Jake wasn't going to act too quick, so he said he'd think about it. And he goes and he thinks about it, and he's thinking about the war, and he starts to think to himself, you know, Pathfinder school is all the way over in England. By the time they send me there, I start school, I finish school, there's a good chance this war might be over altogether.
Yes,
and I'm not going to have to make another
I
combat
appreciate that.
jump. It'll be great. So he's like kind of on the fence about it now, and then he really starts thinking about it, and he's like, man, Pathfinder school's at an Air Force base, and even back in World War II, the Air Force had way better food than the Army. So now he might not have to do any more combat jumps, and he's going to get some good food.
Always
and
thinking
then
with
it
his
dawns
stomach.
on him. The Air Force base where they teach Pathfinder school is 8 miles down the road from Oxford University, and all the young British men are fighting a war right now, meaning that Oxford is just full of college chicks. And as Jake said himself,
Oh my
and I
God.
quote, this seemed like a mighty fine opportunity to do some postgraduate work. Fucking love this guy. So Jake shows up to Pathfinder school, and he's immediately called into the commander's office, which is weird because he hasn't even done anything wrong yet. Jake goes in there, the commander's like, hi Jake, I've heard all about you. I want you to be acting first sergeant. At which point Jake is like, I don't know what you heard about me, but you heard wrong. I'm technically not even a private first class yet. I've never been promoted. I am not the leader that you want. I don't care about saluting. I don't care about any of that dog and pony show military stuff. I'm here to fight a war, and that's it. At which point the commander's like, that's exactly why I want you. I don't need you to salute me. I don't need you to call me sir. I need you to get these guys ready for war, and I don't think there's anybody better to do it than you. I'll make sure that you end up getting paid as a first sergeant the entire time you're enacting first sergeant. To which Jake replies, I don't really care about the money. Look, I've blown up every safe between here and Normandy. I have plenty of money, okay? I might be willing to do this job, but if I'm—
Wait. So he's done a frequent amount of strategically altering equipment locations. Or strategically transferring equipment to alternate locations. Yeah. I don't remember hearing Nick mentioning that as one of his exploits up until now. Yeah, now we know why those eggs didn't break. He had a lot of stuffing in his pocket to cushion them.
I'm gonna do it. There's gonna be some terms. Anybody that's fighting for me is gonna keep having good Air Force food, and they get permanent leave whenever they want it. At that point, the commander agrees. Jake is now the acting first sergeant, which, if you don't know, is the polar opposites of the spectrum as far as enlisted rank goes. So, per usual, Jake excels at pretty much everything all through Pathfinder school. They graduate, Jake is still acting first sergeant, and he gets to decide which person is in which platoon. So naturally, Jake does what anybody would do, and he builds a dream team of the 20 best Pathfinders out of all 400 and puts himself with that platoon. Now, at this point, it's really looking like Jake might never have to go out on a mission as a Pathfinder because the war is really dwindling down at this point. Then, December 16th, 1944, the Germans would launch a last-ditch effort counteroffensive to try to fight Allied forces. This would be known as the Battle of the Bulge, where they would cut off the 101st Airborne, Jake's old division, inside the town of Bastogne, completely surround them, and the 101st Airborne is now stuck in this city. They are running out of ammunition, they're running out of food, and they're running out of gas. And if they end up surrendering, it could turn the entire tide of World War II. So all they need is somebody to be able to parachute in, get in town, and be able to call in resupply drops to let the 101st Airborne have a fighting chance to be able to hold off the Germans long enough for Patton to show up with his army of 350,000 men. So you've got a crazy mission. Somebody needs to save the day. You're calling upon Jake and his dream team. There hasn't been a single radio transmission to come out of the 101st Airborne in over 2 days. Despite that, Jake and his dream team are going to jump in anyways. They have to be able to hit a 2-mile diameter landing zone while jumping out of a plane that's traveling 160 miles an hour, utilizing parachutes that they can't steer. This mission is seemingly impossible, but here they go. They jump out of the planes, they hit the landing zone perfectly.
I have no idea, tornado.
One man, unfortunately, does die, but that is a 5% fatality rate compared to the average of 80. Jake and his men then immediately get to work setting up their equipment in opposite sides of town. And after one guy calls in one resupply, he picks up his stuff, moves to a different location. Then this guy calls in his resupply, picks up, moves to a different location, and they bounce the signal back and forth on opposite sides of town all day, sending signals for resupply. They do this because they know the Germans can triangulate their radio equipment and don't want them to start utilizing artillery to take them out. Within the first 24 hours of Jake and his men landing, they called in 247 C-47s for resupply drops. On the second day, they were able to call in 160. On the third day, they were able to call in 140. On the fourth day, they were able to call in 269. And on the fifth day, they were able to call in 129. Jake and his men have single-handedly provided the 101st Airborne Division with enough resupply to be able to stave off the Germans, to give Patton enough time to show up with his army and penetrate through the German flank, effectively ending World War II in the European theater and potentially saving the entire war as a whole. So Jake has effectively saved the day. It is now time to get out of there, get retooled, refitted, and probably never make another combat jump again because for sure the war is over this time, right? Wrong. Apparently Patton gets in some trouble, needs some hotshot Pathfinders to jump into Prim, Germany, and call in resupply for him. So they're going to Jake and his crew.
Here we go.
Jake jumps in, saves the day for a 4th time, becoming one of the only men in history to conduct 4 combat jumps during World War II. At that point, the war is basically over, and they adopt a holding position where they pretty much just party in Germany for the rest of the time.
Okay, I'll wait. Interesting that 4 combat. Given the extensiveness of the war, I'm actually a tiny bit surprised that 4 combat jumps, but Jake's the only one to have done 4 combat jumps. Thank you, Zeb. Every member of the Hunter... LaRook, is that in respect to the fact that Jake resupplied them so well they could have basically just taken on the German forces coming after them? Because of Jake's efforts with the resupply, they could have just basically... They didn't need Patton, they could have just... They rearmed and they could have just done it themselves. Are they staggering these things on you guys? Oh my god, what is going on? Damn it, Twitch, stop fucking with my chat. Jesus, they're supposed to be doing this right. Quit scrolling with my chat. Answer to what, Swanger? Well, Swanger, generally speaking, in terms of measurements, I will typically use inches. But you gotta remember, I'm American. I've grown up and lived the majority of my life using inches as a form of measurement. Hell, a lot of Canadians that I know use inches instead of centimeters. Honestly, like it's the imperial use of measurement is actually more frequently used in Canada than you would think. They use kilometers for distance, of course, because it's on all the signs, but for like general measurements, like for just like small measurements, they typically do use inches instead of centimeters. Yeah, that's pretty normal. Yeah, well, the military in America has always used kilometers, meters and kilometers. That's standard. The military is sort of the inverse. Is they will use meters and kilometers versus like yards and miles. It's always been that way. Real inches, Bobcat. Real inches.
Now, as fate would have it, Jake and his men and some of the rest of the 101st Airborne would end up taking refuge in the abandoned castle of Hermann Göring, like one of the biggest Nazi leaders during World War II, and oddly enough, a bunch of the spoils from all the countries that Germany has invaded all found their way to his castle. Fancy booze, fancy wine, and apparently he was a racehorse fan because every famous racehorse from every country that Germany invaded had made its way back to his castle. So Jake, the Filthy 13, a bunch of other 101st guys are sitting there getting drunk on fancy wine, fancy whiskey, and there's like $100 million worth of racehorse sitting in the barn, at which point they're like, let's throw on a rodeo for all the townspeople, right? Right, and that's exactly what they do. So you've got a bunch of drunk paratroopers riding around all these fancy racehorses. It's a great time. And then my personal favorite part of this entire story, while out at the rodeo, Jake would meet an attractive young lady by the name of Amelia. And Jake and Amelia would immediately hit it off and start doing some postgraduate work. I mean, dating. Oh, don't worry, it gets better. As it would turn out, Amelia's father is the leader of the local chapter of Hitler's Youth, which is just the absolute cherry on top to this entire story. How's the saying go? Screw you and the horse you rode in on. Jake's like, nah, I'm gonna raid your liquor cabinet, steal your horse, ride in on it, and then bang your daughter. This is the
Suck, Nick, missed opportunity. It should have been, I'm gonna come in, steal your riches, raid your liquor cabinet, ride in on your horse, and ride out in your daughter. Missed opportunity, Nick. Come on. No, dragon. In. Oh, Raven Wings, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the live version.
The best possible ending to this man's epic saga in World War II that anybody could even come up with, and it happened in real life. Just to recap, Jake jumps into D-Day, wrecks house. Then jumps into Holland, wrecks house, and then eats some eggs about it. Then he pretty much single-handedly turned the tide of the Battle of the Bulge, and then he proceeds to find the closest thing he can to a Nazi princess and show her that inches are in fact better than centimeters. Shortly after that, Jake would get sent back home to America, where they would then reroute him to Arkansas so that he could see a plastic surgeon about getting his ear repaired because it had gotten mangled during one of his exploits. While in Arkansas, he would have a run-in with the military police, get in a fight with them, get thrown in the stockade yet again, before being released. The military police commander would inform him after he gets his ears fixed, they don't ever want to see him on their post again, at which point Jake, being Jake, informs the military police commander, hey, if you ever see me again, I'm going to be a civilian and you're going to be the one with the fucking problem because I'm going to kick your ass. At which point, the military police commander files charges on Jake, and Jake is immediately chaptered out of the U.S. Army, officially ending his military career after only 3 years, 5 months, and 26 days. Because that's just how it goes for the anti-heroes. They're absolutely necessary in a time of war and not tolerated whatsoever during a time of peace.
Oh,
Jake
no.
mind, though.
Well, no, you're right. He did speedrun a DD214. I'm thinking they chapter which chapter? Is it chapter 8? Which one's the one that which chapter is it chapter 8 or chapter 15 that boots you out? Military, help me out. Which one is it? It's chapter 8? Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah, chapter 8's the boots. No, section 8 is section 8 is crazy. Section 8 is, psychological problems. It's either chapter 8 or chapter 15. Yeah, section 8 is psych. Chapter 8, I know there's two of them, chapter 8 and chapter 15. I'm trying to remember which is the one that gets you booted. Chapter 8 is the discharge? What am I thinking of with chapter 15? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. Yeah, both can. Chapter 13. That's what I'm thinking of most. Thank you. Yeah, I'm saying 15. It was so chapter 15 is general discharge, chapter 14 honorable, chapter 13. That's what it was. Chapter 13 is the dishonorable. That's right. Oh, right, yeah, what I remember, why I remember Section 8? Is from, I forget what the movie is called, the movie with Sam Jackson and, John Travolta. I forget what the name is called. No, not Full Metal Jacket. It was Sam Jackson and John Travolta, where it was like a group of rangers that basically formed their own, like, yeah, that was at 504, yeah. Where they formed their own, like, basically tactical strike team that's going after the cartels that's, like, owned by nobody, but they called themselves Section 8. That's how I remember Section 8.
He had accomplished what he set out to do, plus he had a huge hoard of cash that he had liberated from all the safes that he ran across in Europe. At that point in time, he goes on to explore his own alcoholism.
Jesus!
Yeah, I bet I did.
Fucking shit! That actually did scare me. Fuck. Okay, calm down, Jesus.
Place to place, town to town, job to job, just kind of doing his own thing. He ends up getting in a ton of bar fights, not because Jake instigates them, but because every local tough guy hears Jake's
so the chapter 14,
and they want to prove how tough they are, but ultimately the only thing they proved is that they could fall down. Then after a number of years, Jake...
Hang on, I'm talking over this.
Town to town, job to job, just kind of doing his own thing. He ends up getting in a ton of bar fights, not because Jake instigates them, but because every local tough guy hears Jake's a paratrooper, and they want to prove how tough they are, but ultimately the only thing they proved is that they could fall down. Then, after a number of years, Jake would have a near miss with a drunk driving accident where he would almost drive his car into a concrete wall, in his own words, only missing it by a coat of paint. Because of that, Jake would decide that he needs to change his own ways. He would defeat his alcoholism, he would find God, he would start going to church every Sunday, he would find a wife, he would have some kids, and he would live happily ever after working at the post office in his hometown of Ponca City, Oklahoma, selling stamps and slinging packages, and nobody was none the wiser that their friendly neighborhood mailman was one of, if not the greatest anti-hero of all time. So in conclusion, it's hard to put into words what an anti-hero is, but you know it when you see it. However, the best definition I have ever heard comes from Jake McNasty McNeese himself. When asked in an interview later in life how he managed to survive all of his crazy exploits, he said, and I quote, "I think I made it because God didn't have anywhere to put me." At that point in time, he was so busy, he was only putting people in one of two places, heaven or hell, and I think he knew that I would have goofed up either one of them. So here I am. And I think that might be the closest thing to a perfect definition that we're ever going to get when it comes to defining what an anti-hero is. So, thank you for watching. The best way to support the channel is to go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Well, I should retreat that evening, and then went in town that night and got on a big drunk. The MPs was really mistreating a soldier boy. I stepped in and told them to stop it, and they said, "We'll do it anytime we want to." So I took their nightsticks away from them, beat them to the ground. And then I took their 45s off of them and shot up all the street lights and everything around there. And I wasn't shooting at any people, I was just shooting lights. And then we went on in with them to the Stockade. And I never did have to stand retreat again.
Wow. Damn, this guy is awesome. Oh. Man.